listen up and maybe learn a little bit about cartooning and animation and things like that. So if y'all want to just come over here, just leave your seats for a minute, and I'll show you my portfolio. Just crowd around the table here if you can. So come on up. Now, the people that can't see in the back, maybe you can kneel down if you're in front or something. I don't know if that's right. People that can't see in the back can check out these. Some of the skills that I don't know if you might be able to see on the back. Hand back. College and developed a curriculum and art fundamentals and life drawing for Miramichi College. Some of my teaching notes that I taught with. I got a grant from Health Canada, and I made a cartoon about the Lung Association about quitting smoking. It was 13 minutes long. It's the longest running film to come out of Sheridan College. These are some of the model sheets. And I've worked on over 20 network productions: Darkwing Duck, Goof Troop, Tiny Toons. Some of the work: Don Coyote, Fender Benders, or some of the other shows, Rambo, Centurions. This is Bob Plant that signed this, the creator of Bugs Bunny, who created Beanie and Cecil. A rock video, Care Bears I worked on, and others I use. Might have some more time to look through this later, but I'm just sort of flying through it fast just to give you an idea. So all these designs, and I can pick them up and use them at other times. A video game I developed, a couple of interactive video games I'm trying to get funding for. A cartoon strip. I've been a commercial artist as well. These are some thumbnail sketches that show layout potential, and I turned it into a cartoon Rocky Rocket, and this is his galaxy now. And you can see some other designs, Us versus Them is a football cartoon. And now, of course, I do a lot of stuff for the internet and new media. We shot karaoke in bars and hotels and had contests, and I drew caricatures in the bars while we did that. Just some other graphic work, brochures, pamphlets, CD-ROMs. Callahan's, I used to draw caricatures of Callahan's up there, in Port Dover and in Brantford, and they did stories on me. Just cloth signs, brochures, political cartoons. Done a lot of stuff for Mohawk College. These are coloring books that I've done, that I've illustrated, that I'm trying to self-publish and sell myself. ABC book and a rhyme and poem book. And a lot of this stuff is on the DVD that you can check out later too, that you'll be able to see. Business cards, advertising work, hockey. Charles Schultz cartoons for Peanuts characters for NFL football that he improved himself. Just different cartoons for Average Johnson Wax, Mohawk College, environmental cartoons. So your cartoons can be used for a wide variety of things. Certificates, not just you know, cartoons for television. They could be used for, like there's a mascot design, newspaper ads. This is for a magician. He had me draw a bunch of bunny cartoons that he has as a bunny. Placemats, show cards. These are wall murals, Mohawk College's gym I did in a weekend with a ladder. A bowling alley cartoons, another gymnasium wall. And these are cartoon maps that I created of a whole bunch of cities. And there's over $20,000 worth of advertising on these maps. And my portion was at $3,000, and it took about 3 months to draw each one. That's what I would get paid. You see, there's a whole bunch of them. I've done about 9 of them, but I'm going to pull out another one here. I think this is the Hamilton one. Yeah.
Wow.
All the detail. And these were like mementos that people kept and bought in souvenir shops and whatnot, and the advertisers handed out. So those are the cartoon maps, and of course I can reuse all these drawings now. If I have to draw railway tracks, I can just cut out and use these ones. It takes a lot of shortcuts away in the drawing. Buildings and some of the color from the maps. And now, of course, I draw a lot of caricatures. I go around town and draw at parties and draw people. This is a wall mural I did for United Artists of Hollywood Stars. It's in front of the theater. And there I am drawing all the way in different places. A lot of caricatures. I've drawn over 50,000 of them. I've been to Spain and Portugal and Fiji and Gibraltar, Monte Carlo, Montreal, Calgary, drawing at the Olympics. A wedding party there I drew. And of course I keep a lot of celebrity caricatures on file as well. And a lot of private commissions from photographs over the internet now that I charge through my website. And these are some of the Hollywood stars that I've drawn. Donald Trump, Oprah, Michael Jackson, Mick Jagger, a whole bunch there. Britney, that's Peter Lorre. Britney Spears, you may recognize some of them. But I keep these on file and I use them. And I get into a lot of abstracts too with interior design and just drawing some abstracts. This is Abbey Road wallpaper. I made fun of the Beatle album and sort of defaced it and made it almost like a political statement. Some more abstracts. I've done some cartoons just lately for the Longhorn football team down in the States, waiting for a check from them. An idea for the biblical cartoon. The Curse of the Gypsies, another cartoon idea. And now I get into a lot of stuff like teaching workshops for the separate school board and whatnot, and public school system, curating art shows, hanging in galleries. I taught teachers actually too how to deliver artwork to their students. I judged the Land's Electronic Animated and Video Arts Awards that William Shatner hosted on television. And that's about it for the portfolio. I'll show you a little piece of animation. This is for a Christmas special we're trying to develop through a play that was written by some local people here, and I've developed the characters. And here the character says, "Merry Christmas." It's pretty hard to see, but you see the animation there. Here, we'll flip it for the camera. I'm going to ham it up a bit. Okay, so if y'all want to take your seats, we'll get into a little bit about how they make cartoons, and then we'll get drawing. Cartoons. But everybody put their hands up at once, so it's be confused, yeah? Character. Character, that's close. I'm thinking something a little different, yeah? Imagination, that's good, yeah, we need that, yeah. Sorry? Tapes? Shapes. Well, we need shapes to draw cartoons, yeah? Try again.
Story.
No, I'm thinking of a T word. When you looked at that portfolio, you thought, boy, is that guy ever talented? We need talent. That's the first thing we need. And talent is made up of three things. Your ability, which comes from your hand-eye coordination and your physical attributes, and your experience, which comes from your knowledge and personal growth, and your desire, which is your wants, hopes, and attitudes. How much do you want to be a cartoonist? How much do you want to animate? How much do you want to paint? So that's the first thing we need to draw cartoons. We need talent. And then the next thing, of course, is an idea. We need ideas. We can brainstorm to expand on our ideas, and with time, ideas come a little easier to us. So once we have our idea, and we've got it in not much more than a sentence, we should be able to write it down in about a sentence, a premise. We have our idea. The next step is to find somebody that can fund the movie, a producer, somebody with money. So we go to a producer with our idea. His responsibilities are for the budget and to make sure the film's done on time, and he supplies the money. And he's not happy with their idea, so be prepared to readapt our idea. So we have to go back to the drawing table, and the next step we do is research. What we probably need to do is research. What sort of things can we do to research our ideas? Jade? No, you need to answer the question, Jade. What do we need to do to research? What can we do? Read, and we go to the library. What else can we do to research? We have to research our idea. Photographs. You see there, photographs, books, interviews, films we can look. All sorts of ways to research your ideas. But say we wanted to make a film about horses, and we didn't have enough information yet. What could we do? How do we find out about horses? We go to the library, we interview people. Go to a farm. Sure, go to a farm or go to a racetrack. Get that first-hand experience you need to research your idea. And you may learn a little more about horses that you didn't know before, like they poo, humongous poos. Okay, the next step is to write a script. So first draft, second draft, third draft. Scripts are hard to write correctly. You got to rewrite and rewrite. But mainly the idea is to write your idea down in a sentence and then expand on it and don't stray from that idea too much. Scripts can be detailed with scene numbers, details like dialogue, sound effects, music can all be incorporated into the script. So the better the scripts are, the better your film will probably be. The next step is to take your script and convert it into a storyboard. Now storyboards are a lot like comic books in the action. They tell the scene numbers and they plan the scene and show it visually in pictures from the script. They can be detailed too with scene numbers and timing. We'll work on a storyboard exercise in the future here, but we'll talk a bit more about it. The next step is to get a director for your film. Once you have the scripts and designs and storyboards done, then you can take it back to the producer and you have a better pitch for your idea. Now, the director's responsibilities are many. He looks after the whole film. He may approve pencil tests, he approves colors, fixes scripts, the writers, answer to the producer. So he more or less runs around with his head cut off until the film is complete, and has a lot of stress and burden on his shoulders to keep it on schedule and on time and on budget. So the director's looking over everything. The next step is to record the sound. What sort of sounds do we hear in cartoons? Does anybody know? Jasmine? What sort of sounds do we hear in cartoons? Can you think of anything? What do we hear? The first thing that comes on TV when you turn it on, what do you hear? Music? That's one thing, yeah, music. Happy music, happy film. The music has to fit the film. So that's one sound effect, one thing we record. What else do we record? What else is there? Music? What else? What am I doing right now? Talk, dialogue. So the other thing is dialogue. So we have people talking. Voices can be speeded up or slowed down, really slow. So the voice has to fit the character as well. So there's one more other component of sound there is. We have music, we have dialogue, and what else? Yeah. Sound effects, yeah, right? So sound effects are just sort of creative ideas on their own, like a horn to show somebody blowing their top or not. So there's our sound effects, music, dialogue, sound effects. The next step in animation is to break down the sound effect. Now for that we have exposure sheets. Now this is the old way of doing it. They used to have a track reader that ran from reel to reel with headphones attached that you could hear the sounds and mark them and transcribe them on sheets that were perfectly timed with the frames of film. Now, of course, they can do it on the computer. You don't need the headphones necessarily, and the timeline is done there. And these are our exposure sheets, how the soundtrack is broken down and transcribed on the exposure sheets. This looks a little detailed and confusing, but you can see the dialogue written down here, not now. And each one of these squares represents a frame of film. And we add our numbers here for the drawings. And we see the dialogue broken down on the soundtrack. These are called exposure sheets. Are the key for animators to plan their scenes for other people to complete them. So the next step is to do our final designs. We design the characters. We draw them. Animators draw them from the front, the three-quarter view, the side view, and the rear view. Draw a rotation of the characters, and they draw the different expressions and attitudes the character may have. And they also may show size relationships to other characters, and they can also show up in the design sheets, mouth movements, or drawing hints for the animators to draw the characters quickly and efficiently. The next step is that while the designs are being done, the backgrounds and layouts are also being done in the design department. Now, a layout artist has great knowledge of perspective and how to lay out and stage a scene, and he does this and draws the backgrounds, and he makes two copies, one in shadow and one in line. The one in line goes to the animator, and the one in shadow goes to the background artist, so he can paint the backgrounds. How else would they get the backgrounds done now? They don't paint them as much as they used to. They just do them on the computer, right? They just paint the backgrounds on the computer. Okay. Here we see an example of a good model sheet and design sheet. Here you can see Bugs Bunny. It's from the front, the three-quarter view, this profile or side view, three-quarter rear view, and different expressions to help them. And we also notice that the animators draw and measure in heads to draw their characters. So now the animator takes the exposure sheets and the layouts and the soundtrack, copy of the soundtrack, and he starts to animate. He draws drawing number 1, drawing number 5, drawing number 9, drawing number 12 of the scene say, and then hands it to an assistant animator who cleans up the drawings, and is no less of an artist really. He's a really good artist at cleaning up and drawing the in-betweens, and he's fast and accurate. So the animator's job is more the acting of the scene and trying to get the movement correct, and the assistant animator cleans it up. Now it's a little different on the computer today. Animators might have to do the whole scene. They might have junior and senior animators in the studio, and the senior animators would get the tougher scenes, maybe the group shots or whatnot, and they would put their own in-betweens in with the computer by turning the drawings into vectors. And here we see the director looking at pencil tests. Now here's some different keys that an animator may draw. I'll put it down to show different movement. This isn't my drawing. This is taken from a book called Animation by Preston Blair. It's a really good book if you want to study animation. It shows the movement and different techniques in animation. These are different types of walk cycles that people can do, showing the movement. A walk, a strut, shuffle, etc. So, here we see the cleanup artist and the background artist cleaning up the drawings. So once all the drawings are together and they've all go to the checking department where they're checked over and over again to make sure they're right and they're on model, and then they're scanned onto the computer or photocopied onto what we call acetate. See here, a piece of acetate, and it used to be painted on the reverse side with thick gaudy paint. It's like house paint. You just gob it on, and when you turn it over and it dries, you have a perfect picture. And these cells used to be hand traced before they had Xerox machine. They had to trace the outline of the drawing. Now, of course, they scan it and color it on the computer. So here's a cell painter painting away. Set of gloves. Now the next step, if we don't scan it into the computer and composite it on a timeline in a computer program, we have to shoot it underneath a great big camera. So the cameraman has a lot of patience as he follows the exposure sheets with all the animator's instructions for the numbering and the sequencing of the drawings. And this camera can move up and down. It's called a multi-plane camera. Walt Disney invented it, animation stand. And these cranks can move sideways or this way to give the illusion of movement, pan or a truck in, and it can move 360 degrees around a circle for a swirl effect. So those are the cameras. So once the animation's been shot, it goes into editing, or all the scenes are composited and put together and put on a timeline and lined up. Back to the lab for processing. The film is processed the old way, and then it comes out as a final print in the lab. Let me tell you that backwards again. So there it is. He comes out with his soundtrack and the picture, and then he mixes it, make his final print. And hopefully, it wins lots of awards, and you're really famous. Okay. Now, just before we go on and start drawing, I just want to show you some animation flip books. We took a couple of those from back to front and then passed them on, showing some animation. And I want to go through these folders with you. So if you don't just take one of these, got one. One to your lady from Hi.
Hi.
Oh, need one more there? Here you go. Okay, if you look, just flip, that's right, back to front. There you go. Now look at these folders mixed up with your other folders on your desk. Now if you look at the folders, the first thing you see is a rotation. Notice how the character's forehead's tall. Then we see some expressions. And the last page is some action model sheets. The next thing in the folder is the same thing, only from a professional studio. I think a lot of you have Shaggy. A couple of model sheets there and a mouth movement chart. There might be some props. And the next thing is a storyboard. You can see the panels of the storyboard showing the action, the timing. And the next thing is an exposure sheet. You see the example of the exposure sheet, lip sync written down, and the animation drawings plotted. The next thing we see in the folder are the layouts, a couple examples of layouts. And then the last thing we see in the folder is a cell. You can look on the back of it and see how it's painted. Look through the inside of it and kind of see how it's carved on there. Okay, so just keep the folders in order. I'll go through them again. The rotation, more design sheets, the storyboard, the exposure sheet, the layouts, and then the cell. Okay, Jade, can you get up and collect all the folders for me after everybody's had a chance to look at them? Okay, now we're going to get into some drawings. Does anybody have any questions about how they make cartoons first before we start here? How they make animated cartoons? How many people would you say it takes to make a cartoon? Anybody know? Maybe 150 people a month to make a 30-minute cartoon. Okay. Now we'll get into some drawing. Oh, just before we go, you can see here all the charts, all those topics we talked about, how they all come together to make your cartoons. The talent, the idea, the script, the character designs, right through to the final mix. Okay, drawing. Everybody just loosen up, shake your hands about, loosen up, get ready to do some drawing. Okay. Just a couple tips here before we start. There are only 3 things you can draw: a circle, a square, and a triangle. And of course a line, but I don't count that because of course we have to make lines when we draw. And the other thing we have to concern ourselves with is the negative shape around objects. That helps us identify the shapes we have to draw. So the negative shape becomes important. And there's 3 ways to draw these 3 shapes: what you see, what you feel, and what is right. I'll just take a step back. There's 3 ways to draw these sheets: your fingers, with your wrist, and with your arm. Animators like to draw with their arms. It's a lot faster and more accurate to draw with your arms, get things done a lot quicker. It's okay, you put the details in with your wrist and fingers at the end. And there's 3 ways to draw those 3 things: what you see, what you feel, and what is right. What you see may be what you see in your head, or what you see right in front of you that you're trying to draw. I see a princess, she's wearing a crown, she's on a horse, now I set off to try to draw that. That's what you see. Or I see that camera sitting right there, and I'm going to make a sketch of it, I can see it. That's what we see. What you feel is how you're going to do it. Am I going to use a pencil? Am I going to use a pen? Am I going to use cutouts? Am I going to use marker? So how you feel about it, or is what I'm talking about there. And what is right is how close did I come to drawing that princess I saw in my head? That's what is right. If I got it right like I thought, that's good. Or how close is it to what the person asked me to draw? If I have a client and he asked me to draw a horse and I draw a cow, that's not too good. So we want to give people what is right or what they want as well. Okay, so keeping those things in mind, let's just draw in the air a couple circles. Take your colored pencil there and tape up a couple of 8.5 by 11s on top of your paper here, so you have a bit of a cushion. Just tape down an 8.5 by 11 page. There's a whole bunch of paper that should be floating around the side there. You can grab. Right here, you have to grab about 10 sheets. Just grab about 10 sheets of it, just ready. I tried to get that, pull off that tape to save you some time. So if we just want to start off, drawing in the air, big with our arm, nice big circles. So we just want to draw circles on the page. Nice round, go over them a couple times. Try to make them nice and round. Nice round circles. Draw with your arm. You can adjust the depth a little if you need to. Nice and round, nice and round. Try to be nice and round and draw with your arm. Don't be afraid if they're messy. Just nice and round and loose. Good. Nice and round. That's good. Nice and round. Good. Good. Okay, now we can try some squares and triangles. Just draw them floating around in space, different sizes. Draw a square. Draw a square. Now you can start to add little sides on the square. You start to have 3D shapes or cone shapes. Or triangle shapes. A big triangle, a little triangle, join the edges. So just give a couple seconds to draw some shapes. Rough and loose them out. Nice and rough and loose, and you can build on these shapes. Square. You can add a little side to it. Good. Oh, I think there's some real talent in here. Okay. So you see how quickly we can take these shapes and build on them to start to design characters. So we take these shapes and we add a circle, maybe add a triangle, a little circle, a couple straight lines, a couple ovals. There you go, you got a character from a 3/4 view, just by rough structured shapes. We like to measure with heads again, so this character is 3 heads tall. Okay, from this one shape we have here, we have an infinite number of poses. We can fold his arms, put his arm up, put his arms up here, and we can, just by tracing these back really quickly, we can come up with a whole bunch of poses for our character. And then we can go back in and add the details when we want to finish it off. So you see how you can, I'll just give you a couple seconds, you can design a character if you want using simple shapes and just try to construct it. But we're moving on here, and you have a DVD with all the stuff you can practice with. So I'm just keep on plugging away here. Now the next thing we have to learn about when we draw characters and we start drawing the structure, we're drawing human characters, are proportions. Okay? So if everybody takes a new sheet of paper, that's your piece of paper here with the tape on it. Okay? So if we look at the human figure, oh, I need to grab a if we look at the human figure, backwards again, you can see the adult body is 7.5 heads tall. We like to measure in heads. Remember I discussed drawing the characters? Okay, so we can see here, 1 head, 2 heads to the chest, 3 heads to the belly button. These are really basic. They may vary for some people, like midgets or what have you, but they're basically the same for everybody that's adult. So we go to the belly button, then down to the crotch, to the knee, top of the knee, the middle of the shin, to the ankle, and there's usually a half head left over for the feet. Now babies might be a little different in proportions, or they might only be 2 heads tall. Basically, these proportions are true for all humans. The eyes are halfway in the head, the nose halfway from the eyes to the chin, and the mouth halfway from the nose to the chin. Simple proportions for the human figure. Okay? So if we take our new sheet of paper we have ready, we are going to draw a stick figure that is 7.5 heads tall. So we'll start off, just a piece of paper, we'll draw an oval. With our arm, we're drawing with our arm, we're not drawing with our fingers, and we're drawing an oval and a stick that's about 3 heads tall. Okay? Try maybe from a 3/4 view. And then we're going to add the hips, little tiny ones, and make them about 3.5 heads tall. I mean, if you're too big here. Leave a little space for the neck, put the shoulders in, and draw the arms come down just below the waist. And there's our stick figure, 7.5 heads tall. It's not perfect there the way across the feet. So just go ahead and make that. Got our stick figure. Okay, then your arms are a little short here. We got the head. Need a little space for that. Yeah. Something like that. This head's a little too big. Arms a little short. Oh, what happened here? There's the head. There's nice and long. stick figure? That's not bad. That's a little small. These are more like 12 hits. There's the feet, the shoulders. Jasmine? Hey, that's pretty good. He's a little short. He's only 1, 2, 3, 4. He's only 4.5, 5. We want to make him nice and tall. Oh, yeah. A little space. Okay? That's pretty good. A little space for the head. Oval. We want the head to be oval. Okay. Good, good. Look at Kratz's here. He did a really good job. He's a bit of an animator, though. There we go. There's a nice one. Nice one. It's about 7.5, but still. Nice and loose and rough drawing. Good Kratz. That's pretty good, Jay. The arms are a little too long. Good, good, good. So let's work proportions, okay? And we can see how easy it is to go in and fill it in now. Putting a rib cage in, some shoulders, cone shapes for the arms, a circle here. And you can see you can make a realistic character in no time at all by filling in the details. A little hot. Okay. Okay, so now we need, I'll leave this up here. You need a volunteer. Somebody who's light. Jasmine? Good. Thanks for volunteering, Jasmine. Come on up here. Come on up, Jasmine. Come on. Can you hop up there? Hop up there. Stand right up on it. Can you stand right up on it? Move into the middle of the table so you don't fall. Move back a little. Okay, strike a pose, Jasmine. Tell you're a movie star. Put one hand on the hip, one hand on the hip. One hand up here. There it is. Okay, draw. Get going. She can't hold that forever. Draw an oval for the head. Draw the spine. Add the spine. Then add the arms and legs. So we're trying to draw quick with our arm and draw a gesture. Draw an oval for the head. Add the spine, then add the arms and legs. Okay, new pose, Jasmine. Just draw fast. New pose. Head over. Pretend you're in a race. Start a race. That's it. Butt up. That's it. Okay, there's your nose pose. Draw fast. Draw the head. Add the arch in the back. Add the arms and legs. Details. Try to draw rough and loose. Oh, we got another life drawing guy here. You took life drawing before. So that's good. Some good drawings here. Okay, new pose, Jasmine. Maybe down on one knee. Down on one knee. Sideways, though. Sideways. That's it. That's it. Put the hands in the air. There it is. There's the pose. Eye back to the paper. Back to the model. Back to the paper. Back to the model. Try to see and notify. Look at the negative shape there. Her arms to her legs, and then the square in the leg with her knee up. That's a definite shape in there.
Nice meeting you. See you guys later.
Good try. Okay, one more pose, Jasmine. One more for good measure. Sit on the table. Sit, so we don't fall or anything. Maybe just lean to one side. There's the pose. Maybe one leg up, one knee up on the table. Can you do that? Stretch your ballet star. There's the pose. Try to draw rough and loose. I know it's kind of hard for some of you who are sitting and you can't see too good. Try to draw rough and loose. Keep the pencil moving. Don't be worried if the lines are rough and scratchy. You're trying to sketch. Okay, let's have a big hand for our model, Jack. perspective. Now this is a bit of a challenge to try to relay all this information. And perspective is something that takes years of practice to get really good at. But we'll just get into it a bit. Now what do we call it? The furthest point we can see when we're standing on a road. The furthest thing we can see. Horizon, right. So we have a horizon line. That's the furthest point the eye can see, standing, say, at a point. Now, if we take 1 point perspective, which is called 1 point on the horizon line, and everything we see comes off that point. Everything. Everything we see comes off that point. That is 1 point perspective. If you look like it's in a room, then that would be the floor and the chairs and couches would all come back to that 1 point of perspective. Okay, so that's 1 point perspective on the horizon line. Now, if we were to have 2 points on the horizon line, it would be 2 point perspective. Here's our horizon line, farthest line we can see with the naked eye, the room. And we have 2 points, one over here, and say one here. And when these lines come off and intersect, oh, it should be a corner. You can see how there's 2 points on the line. Does everybody see that? It's kind of, looks like a mess, doesn't it? So it's something like this, only to one corner. Something like that, right? These 2 lines, when they're extended, come onto there. These 2 lines, when they're extended, come to there. So there's the 2 points. So there's 2 point perspective. Now the other perspective we have is, there's 3 and 4 and 5 point perspective, but really they're just different variations of 3 point perspective. 3 point perspective is a worm's eye view or a bird's eye view, looking down at something or looking up at something usually. So if we had a building, we had the horizon line here, and we had a point here, a point up here, and we had a third point down here. When we draw all these lines, and join them down here, and you see that this is a sort of like a building in perspective. Maybe the windows. Does everybody see that? 3 point perspective? Okay, so that's the next thing we have to think about, perspective. Now, I'm not going to make you draw the squares again, now that you know a little bit about perspective. But the thing is to see through your objects when you're drawing perspective, cones and shapes, and see how they look in 3 dimensions. You're drawing a 2D image and trying to make it look 3-dimensional. Okay, so that's about perspective. Now, just got a couple other things I want to go through really quickly before we do the storyboard and some animation, an animation exercise. If you look at your folders, have this color model. I guess I should have done that. Jeez. Anyway, when you're choosing colors for your characters, it's best to choose them ahead of time before you go to trouble with coloring them all and coloring completely, and then you think, oh, I made a wrong color. How can I go back now? Choose your colors by, drawing lines up. I know what that's going to look like yellow. I know what that's going to look like. So you pick your colors before, and then you color it. It's a better way to make it. It's a good idea to make color models of your character to help for presentation purposes as well. And the other thing we have to be concerned about when we're drawing is shadows, of course. And here you see we identify shadows with the light source, where the light or the camera would be pointing to give the light. So you can see here, when the light source is coming from this side, the character down this side is all in shadow. And it gives that 3-dimensional look. When the light's from the back, the front is in shadow. So just a quick tip on drawing shadows to make something look really good without a lot of work is to draw a line down one side of the body and keep that consistent in the background and everything. And when we're also talking about color, there are only 3 types of color, 3 kinds of color, 3 choices. Magenta, which is like a really dark purple. indigo, which is like a real dark navy blue, and yellow ochre, which is like a bright sun yellow. And from those three colors, you can mix any color you want with black and white, which are bases. So if you have a little magenta, and you add a little white, you got mauve and pink. You add indigo with yellow, you got green. Magenta, indigo and yellow, orange. So you see how this works, so you can mix all your colors. But these are the three bases of colors. The next thing I want to talk about is when you're doing commercial art, other effective things, like say you had to do a set design. You know, you have to be innovative and creative when you're doing your set designs, like cardboard boxes and a hanger with streamers and sparkles to make a waterfall. Cutouts you can use. So different ways to make props. When you're drawing a mural, it's probably a good idea to get an overhead projector, get one of these babies, and just project it on the wall, trace it off. You know, rather than trying to draw it big, draw it small, project it on the wall, and trace it off and do the mask job. A little easier to do bigger jobs that way. Okay, and the other thing we can do, of course, is use magazines and cutouts. I'm taking you through a bunch of exercises here without you having to do them because of our limited time here, of course, and you're only going to see me one night. But I'm trying to give you a little taste of everything. But you can use cutouts to effectively make humorous cartoons. Oh, did I tell you what caricature means? Cartoon means? A cartoon or a caricature comes from Latin caricature. It means a drawing of exaggeration or humor that interests. So therefore, animation in Latin means alive. So therefore, animated cartoons are drawings of humor and exaggeration that amuse and interest that are alive, that move, in other words. Well, that's what animated cartoons are. But cutouts can be really used effectively, and wouldn't have been, maybe get old magazines and cut out, you know, put an elephant body on George Bush's head or something, you know. You can do some funny things. Okay, the next thing we're going to try, just before we get into a couple animation exercises and a storyboard exercise, those will be the last two things we do. We're going to draw caricatures. So I have to pick one person from the class that I'm going to draw to show you how to draw a caricature. And then you're all going to split up into groups of two and try to draw each other. We're going to spend about 10 minutes on it, so we're going to try to do that. So if you just go around the room, when I point to you, say the number. Go.
Where do I start at?
Well, usually where numbers start.
1.
Thank you.
2. 3.
4. 5.
6. 7. 8. 9. 11.
Hello.
12.
13. The number was 7. Who was 7? Okay, Jasmine, you get a caricature. Okay. So, I'm just going to grab one of these real quick. Okay, Jasmine, come back here. If you all want to come around, I'll just draw a quick caricature, and then you can take your seats again and split up into twos. I did that numbering system a little wrong. Bring over your chair, Jasmine. All right, when I draw a caricature, I need another sheet of paper. Can you just hand me one there? Thanks. When I draw a caricature, this is what I'm drawing in my head. A circle and an oval. It comes down, there's the ear, and there's how the body fits. That's what I'm drawing in my head, because I have to draw straight ahead and marker. But it's good to get the structure down, an oval and a circle, to get that skull shape. So I draw something like that in my head, and then I know where to plan and start around the eye. Draw out the eyes, add the nose and the mouth, and it's all in proportion. The eyes are halfway, and all the proportions are there. So I have to kind of try to do that in my head when I draw straight ahead and marker. Sorry. So here I go. Jasmine, can you look right here at my finger? Let's see your hair at the back. See your hair? Oh, it's in a bun. Okay. Can you look right here at my finger? Big smiles. Hee hee hee, show the pearlies. That's what we want. So, start in the corner of the mouth. geez, Jasmine, I haven't drawn you in a while. Big smiles. We're getting there. Patience, Jasmine. There's only one rule when you get your caricature drawn, right, Jasmine? You know the rule? Turn your head a bit. No hitting the artist. That's the rule.
He likes that rule.
Yeah, I like that rule. Draw the outside of the face, and she's got those big dimples there. A little rouge out of her ear. Here. That big receding forehead. All the buns back here. There's their neck. And she's got those big brown eyes. And it's Jasmine, right? We can put on her name. Very good. Okay, so it's Jasmine J. Pardon?
Jasmin.
Hold on, you're going a little fast. J-A-M?
Jas.
This is the problem drawing caricatures. J-S.
M.
M.
I.
Uh-huh.
N-E.
And well, something like that, Jasmine. My hands are stiff here for some reason. But after you draw about 30 of these in a couple hours, you get pretty good. Okay, Jasmine, you ready to see your picture? I'm getting ready to run. Okay, and then you can always put the little head, big head, little body thing and draw them playing their favorite sport or hobby or whatnot. Okay, Jasmine, I'm going to show you.
Good job.
Okay.
That was really, really good.
Okay, there you go. You roll it up, give them a color page, put it in a bag in case it rains. Hold good. Okay, so if you want to split up into groups of two, maybe the people at your desk, get them to pose for you. Just take turns, take 5 minutes for each person, and we'll draw back and forth. So Cam, you draw Gratz, Gratz, you draw Cam. You draw Jay here. Sit here, just sit here. That's right there. Yeah. You want to start? Now, put up a couple of caricatures here. One of Jessica Frog, who sings like a frog, and the cast from Friends. Give you a little inspiration. But it might be good to draw the structure. Have you not got a partner? We'll just draw with somebody else. Martinez will be your partner.
I don't have to draw, I'm fine.
Well, no, you have to draw. You just join somebody else. Maybe Jasmine.
Oh, okay.
Do you draw her and draw each other, Jasmine?
That's not you.
Try to look at the person, try to get them to pose and hold still. Try to get them to smile. Try to pick out something about their character. Maybe they have a big nose. Maybe they have a nice smile. You got long eyelashes. Draw the structure first. Try to draw the structure. Okay, just watching. Try to draw rough and loose. If you want the person to move a little, maybe you get them to move over a little bit. Put their head down. It's easier for you than rather than drawing the upshot of their nostrils. Try to get them to smile, tell them a joke. He turn. You switch up and show the other person and sign it. Sign it with the other person, put their name on and sign it. Let them see their picture.
What happens when you don't smoke?
Well, you don't. What do you do? Give it away.
Haven't got much time left, only a couple minutes. Then we gotta switch it out to the other one. We have to switch it. Well, okay, how long have you been drawing here? A couple minutes? One more minute and then we'll switch up to the other person.
Just because I'm slow.
You can give them a little body if you want, or ask them what their favorite hobbies are, or if they play any sports, or what they want to be when they grow up. Do they have any dreams or hopes or fantasies?
Yes, you can.
This guy's got some skills. I see a likeness there. He's good.
Stop it.
Yeah. It's good. Set the big eye.
Big.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be interesting.
Okay, let's show the person their picture and freak them out. And we'll switch up. Putting on your finishing touches.
No.
I didn't even know what that was in there.
Want a couple more minutes? And why we use these colored pencils, by the way, as animators and artists, we draw with the colored pencil and then we go over it with the hard pencil, the pencil line, so we don't see our rough lines and we can see the outline of the character. So I guess I should have told you that about an hour ago. Sign it there, Cam. You gotta put your name on it and sign it and give it to him.
I look like a pig.
What's this for? What's this for?
That's the way
Good.
you used to have to use me. I like it though.
Well, the proportions are pretty close. Remember, the eyes are halfway, so, the head would come up.
For some reason you have to
If I'm looking at her, her eyebrows are up here. She's got these
That's mine, that's me.
small. And then, the way her hair goes, it's way up here.
You look so easy. Look at that. What?
No, look at him. Look, he can't draw. This is me. He can't draw. Look at him. It's me. I heard how to draw.
Okay, let's thank the person you just drew and get him to give you $5.
Someone hanging around.
Okay, I guess the workshop isn't going to go as long as I thought it would. We might be done by 9, so that's a little good reprieve for everybody. We'll have some time for questions or whatnot. Okay, if you want to grab your folder that's at your desk, everybody want to grab their folders that are at your desk? You're behind your desk here, the yellow folders. If you look in there, you'll see your DVD that you can take home and you can study your exercise and lots of samples of artwork. And pull out the Binky page, the one that's stapled with Binky. Binky Bear. That one. Pull that out. There should be 2 pages, a storyboard panel page and Binky Bear. You can pull off the staple or tear off the sheet on top and put Binky on the side of your desk because that's the character we're drawing. That's your model sheet. Just rip it off, please. Binky Bear.
So cute.
Okay.
What's that for?
Okay, if you're looking at the okay, everybody got their Binky Bear sheet? Okay, and your storyboard panels. Your storyboard panel you can tape on your desk because that's what you're going to be drawing on, those little squares. Okay? Okay, this is your first panel. We're going to create a storyboard with Binky Bear. We teach you how to make storyboards, so you can go ahead and storyboard your films and put your ideas down and get them on paper after you've written your poems and scripts and text. Okay, in the first panel, we can see on the bottom of the page all the short forms for storyboarding. You can see on the bottom where it's A, action. Can you read a couple of them out? Yeah? I can't see them from here. Can you read a couple of them out loud?
A, action. B, dialogue. C, camera. D, timing, number in seconds. S, FX, sound and special effects. M, music, cut, hold. Fade in, fade out, X, dissolve. BG, background. Pan, BG, left. Pan, BG, right. There, hand, south, north.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so you see there's lots of short forms that'll help us tell our stories. So in the first panel here, we're going to label this page, this is page 1, so put that on your top left of your sheet where it says page number. It should be on the top left of the panels. Top? Oh, top right, sorry, page 1, I'm a little slow here. Okay, and where it says SC, that's scene 1. So this is scene 1. Everybody put a 1 there. Scene 1. Everybody got that done? Scene 1 up here. Scene 1. Okay, and this is center screen. This is the center of your panel. We're going to start by just going a little left of center and a little lower and drawing a little egg shape like that. Drawing a little egg shape. Fatter at the bottom. That's Binky's structure. Okay? Everybody drawing along with that? So you got the little egg shape? Okay. Now we have to add arms. Little arms running up there and some legs. Running. Tail. Some ears and a nose. And a little shadow underneath. I'll just give it a couple seconds. Maybe some speed lines. He's running. And then in the background, draw little lines that represent and draw Bubbles the butterfly. He's chasing Bubbles. You can draw the horizon down there. So there's our first panel. Just give you a couple minutes to catch up. Might be easier to draw in pencil with this because those color erases get pretty hard to see. If you need to sharpen your pencil, there's electric pencil sharpeners over there. Storyboard panel you can tape on your desk because that's what you're going to be drawing on, those little squares. Okay? Okay, this is your first panel. We're going to create a storyboard with Binky Bear. We teach you how to make storyboards so you can go ahead and storyboard your films and put your ideas down and get them on paper after you've written your poems and scripts and text. Okay, in the first panel, we can see on the bottom of the page all the short forms for storyboarding. You can see on the bottom where it's A, action. Can you read a couple of them out? Yeah? I can't see them from here. Can you read a couple of them out loud?
A, action. B, dialogue. C, camera. D, timing, number in seconds. S, FX, sound and special effects. M, music, cut, hold. Fade in, fade out, X, dissolve. BG, background. Pan, BG, left. Pan, BG, right. There, pan, south, north.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so you see there's lots of short forms that will help us tell our stories. So in the first panel here, we're going to label this page, this is page 1, so put that on your top left of your sheet where it says page number. It should be on the top left of the panels. Top? Oh, top right, sorry, page 1, I'm a little slow here. Okay, where it says SC, that's scene 1. So this is scene 1. Everybody put a 1 there. Scene 1. Everybody got that done? Scene 1 up here. Scene 1. Okay, and this is center screen. This is the center of your panel. We're going to start by just going a little left of center and a little lower and drawing a little egg shape like that. Drawing a little egg shape, fatter at the bottom. That's Binky's structure. Okay? Everybody drawing along with that? So you got the little egg shape? Okay. Now we have to add arms. Little arms running up there, and some legs. Running. Tail. Some ears, and a nose. And a little shadow underneath. I'll just give you a couple seconds. Maybe some speed lines. He's running. And then in the background, draw little lines that represent and draw Bubbles the butterfly. He's chasing Bubbles. You can draw the horizon down there. So there's our first panel. Just give you a couple minutes to catch up. Might be easier to draw in pencil with this because those color erays get pretty hard to see. If you need to sharpen your pencil, there's electric pencil sharpeners over there. So we draw that rough little egg shape, and then we add the arms and legs and draw them chasing the butterfly. Okay, and that's our first panel. Now that we've drawn our first panel, usually we would draw all the panels first when we create storyboards, and then go back and label it. But I'm kind of lazy, so we're going to do half and half. So after, now we have to label this drawing. Okay, so this is scene 1, panel 1 of 2. So we call it panel 1 of 2, and it's BG, background 1. We might have had titles before this, of the intro or credits or whatnot, but this is scene 1. We can add a little bit of a background and some trees in there, a little bit of horizon tree there. Okay? So it's scene 1, 1 of 2, background 1. Okay, now we have to write below so we know what's going on. A, action. What's the action? What's happening in this scene?
Chasing a butterfly.
What?
Chasing a butterfly.
Okay, so we'll call it Bear. We want to simplify. Binky or Bear chases butterfly. Chases butterfly. That's the action. Okay. We don't have any dialogue. Sound. Do we have any sound? Would there be any sound here? Maybe some happy chase music, eh? Like he's chasing him. So maybe chase music we'll write for effects, or chase music. Sound, music. No effects, just chase music. And then, because he's running here, we have to, and this is 1 of 2, we have to put pan, BG, left. So the background is going this way while Binky is running this way. Do we all see that? Pan, background, left, L-E-F-T. Pan, background, left. The background is going this way, and Binky is running this way. Okay? And so we have to write camera, C, pan, BG, left. Okay, and that's that panel done. Okay? Now we're on to the second panel. You want me to leave that up there for a second? Everybody a little slow? Just give everybody a second to catch up. There it is, the Okay, now we're moving on to the second panel. Here's our panel. Here's center screen. So this is, what scene is this?
Two.
No. Let's look at our last panel. What does it say? Scene 1, 2 of 2. This is the second panel, 2 of 2, and it's the same background, background 1. Okay, so there's your top. It reads it. Okay, so now we draw Binky on this side of that circle. Draw his arms out, maybe draw his hands down this time, his feet out, his tail here, squash his nose a bit, X his eyes, and draw him running into a tree.
Oh.
Poor Binky. Draw some wood there that's in the foreground. Draw some speed lines. And you can even write crash. Or boom. Or something. Crash. Okay? And then maybe a little arrow to show where Binky goes after he hits the tree. Falls off. So there's our second panel drawn. And you could even draw the butterfly coming back, if you want to. Coming back over the screen this way. Something like that. That's already good. Okay, and what's our action? What's our action in the scene? Bear hits tree. Bear, Binky hits tree. Sound? Do we still hear the music? No, the music will stop, we hear the crash. So music stops. Crash effect. EFX. Okay, there's what other recording sounds do we have? There's no music, there's no crash, there's no dialogue here, nobody's saying anything. Pardon? Well, yeah, I guess you could hear a thud, maybe a thud there. Okay, what else do I got here? Effects, crash, bear his tree. Maybe you could have dialogue, a little ugh, or something like that. Ugh. Okay, so there's that second panel. And now we'll move on to the third panel. So here we have the third panel. Center screen. This is scene what? Oh, forgot one important thing for the last panel. On the bottom, where is it? Where'd it go? Here, on the last panel, we write cut, because that's the end of the scene. 2 and 2, we know the scene ends. Cut. We can circle it. Right there. You can even write it again down here. Cut. Okay? So now we go back to our last panel on the storyboard. Scene what?
2.
Scene 2, brilliant. How many panels? We only got one panel left, so 101. It's a cheat course. 101, background. Background. Stay with me here. No. Background 2. You could have reused 1, but that would have been a jump cut. We would have cut to the same scene, so we can't do that. So it's background 2. So this is going to be a close-up of Binky getting up out of the screen. So we draw a little semicircle, oval like that, with 2 little ones here for his feet. His arms come down here. There's his nose. Maybe he's a bit cross-eyed. Draw little stars going above his head. Maybe thing we have to do on this one is draw a square inside the square that shows a camera move that shows a truck in. And it comes from the corner with arrows. So we show we're trucking in on Binky as he's all dizzy there. So we truck in. And now we're ready to label the rest of our panel. Give you a couple seconds to catch up. Good. Good, Jasmine. Good. What's your name? Oh, Holly, I didn't already mention. Oh, you lost your panels? Okay. Okay, so that's our last panel. Let's go ahead and label it. Action. Hands up. Everybody got the answer for that? Action. We'll see action here. What do we call it? Something simple. What's he doing?
Sitting up.
Sitting up, long. I guess you could show an arrow there, sitting up. Bear sits up, dizzy. Or bear dizzy. That's the action. Sound. What sound would we hear? Cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. Something like that, right? Cuckoo. Cuckoo sounds in the background, little birds. And dialogue. He says, Binky says, I better watch where I'm going. This is unbearable. I know it's a bad pun, but it's the best I got. So there's our dialogue. And camera, we have truck in. We do a truck in. Maybe a slow trucking. And oh, we forgot to add camera for this. Camera shake. When he hits the tree, the camera shakes. Like the tree shakes, like bang! The tree shakes. He thuds off. So maybe 3 seconds for this one. And then we have our last scene. How long would it be? 2 seconds? Okay, you try to say this line. I better watch where I'm going. This is unbearable. Say that in 2 seconds, Ross. No, you don't think you can. Okay. So that would be a lot longer to deliver that dialogue. So he's dizzy, he gets up. So that would probably be maybe 5, 6 seconds, 7 seconds. So we'll say 7. So we have 7, 3. We've made a 15-second cartoon, and we've only done 3 panels. You see the use of storyboards, how they're helpful planning out things and organizing things for you so you understand. Does anybody have any questions about storyboards? No questions? Where? 7 seconds? Trucking, slow trucking. Slow trucking, it's camera. C, camera. Slow trucking. Okay, so you can see how easy it is to make storyboards. Okay, so now you made your storyboard, we can try to animate something. Okay, just look in your folder for a second. Just look in your yellow folders. You put Binky back in your yellow folders. Put all your drawings back in your folders, all your life drawings, all your gestures, proportions, your designs. I gave you a couple extra color pages in there, and a couple of blank storyboard panels so you can make your own storyboards, photocopy it and make your own storyboards. Right now I want you to get out the animation paper that's in the back of the folder, the paper with the pegs on it. There should be about 4 sheets in there. 4 sheets of animation paper. Big paper in the back. Okay. So you can turn around your desk there and flicker on the lights. You got that sheet. Make sure you don't have, you have a sheet down and you're going to blind yourself. All you got to do is click the top. Click the top of the light and it should come on. You can tilt the light, you can spin it, and it has an on-off switch, but don't pull them off, please, because they're stuck on there permanently and I don't want to break them. Just give the light a click and you can see a little bit through them. Okay. If this is our piece of paper, these are our pegs down here. This is center screen. Okay. Now we're going to draw with our blue or colored pencils again. Okay, we're going to try to draw with our arm and draw. We're going to animate a reaction. Okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do first. We're going to animate somebody reacting to something. So they're going to be in a position, then they're going to anticipate, what we call an animation anticipate, and then they're going to go into a surprise look, okay, or a shock look, and then settle. So it's called animation take, or a reaction shot. So it's pose, anticipation, reaction, settle. So we're going to try to do 4 drawings, and then I'll show you how to in between them. Okay, so the first drawing is just a circle, rough. You can draw a square, just like our leave a space for the neck. Draw 2 arms coming down. Something like that. Doesn't have to go right to the bottom of your page. Just something like that. Just rough. Something like that. Doesn't have to be really big. You know, leave yourself half the page. Leave yourself at least about half the page up here. We're going to need that little bit of space. Just try to center it well on the page. Nice little circle. Okay. Now take another piece of animation paper, put it on top of that one. You should be able to kind of see through it. So this is our second page of animation paper on top. This is a square paper. And we're going to try and squash him down. So this is where he was, up here. We're going to draw like an oval, squish it down a bit, bring his arms up, something like that. So we're going to squish him down a little. Squish it down. He was up here. We'll put the other one underneath so you can see. And you can flip the page if you want to help you draw it. But we want to make an oval. There it is there. There's the 2 pictures. Right beside each other. Okay, so draw an oval. So squish it down a little bit. Flatten it out. Draw a little oval. Anticipate down.
You got an animation paper? I don't see.
Oh, there's some right beside you right there somewhere. You get some?
I was thinking that's squares.
Okay. Now, the third one, you can draw him, you draw him normal, then you draw him squashed down, and now, on the third piece of paper, you're going to draw him stretched out and up higher. He's stretched out, long neck, skinny arms, maybe they could be out at his side. So there's the 3 now. He's stretched out. And then the fourth picture, the settle, he can go back to almost normal. Almost the first one. You can almost trace off the first one, and that would be the same. He's sort of settled. His arms come down. And once you kind of have that movement, you take your fingers and I'm left-handed, so I'm bad to watch do this. But you take your fingers in between and flip the drawings and see the movement. You see? How does it work out? Yeah, something like that. Just gotta get your perspective a little bit. So you just gotta get that head bobbing up and down, up, down, up. Can I sit there for a second? Just gotta try to a little more. Don't be afraid to be rough and loose. Keep that. Shoulder up. And then pop them up into the pose. Down and then up. Stretched out here. And then the hands up here. And now, I need to go back to the first. So. Look at our four drawings there. See that? Now you can go back and you can start to put in. Details. Squinting here and showing lots of teeth. And he's up here. And then he just settles. Yeah. Try to be rough and loose. Then you can go back and clean it up and add all the details. Now, the one thing I forgot to show you on this animation, once we have our keys, these are our key drawings, we can go back and number them. So we'll go back and number them. So you can put this in the bottom right-hand corner if this is your panel. You put it A1 and put a circle around it. It's on A level. It's number 1 drawing. Pick the second panel, A5. It's A5. We're doing this to the exposure sheet. This is A7, the third one. And maybe A11 for the last one. Now that we have the key numbers, we can go back and plot where the in-betweens go. A1, we draw a little chart. A1 to A5, we'll make it space timing. So this is halfway, quarter ways, A2, A3, A4. There's where your in-betweens go. Everybody see that chart? A little confusing. This is A1, goes to A5. This tells the assistant animator where the in-betweens. That goes halfway, and that goes to 2, goes quarters away. It should be 1 quarter here. 1 quarter here. Now you can do favors where all your in-betweens are stopped up here. And it jumps right to that one, or they're all favoring or slowing into this one. So you can plan your timing by how you make these charts. And then, like I say, you can go back and add details to all these, and the eyes. Maybe he's smiling in the first one, showing teeth and grunting in the second one. Then he's a big surprise look in the third one. Give him some ears. And then he's back to normal, maybe a little surprised or a little subtler in the last book as he settles. So everybody see how we get the timing there? Anybody have any questions about what we just tried to do here? A couple more minutes to work on it. Does anybody have any questions about anything we did tonight?
That was awesome, man.
No?
Yeah, Carol.
Yeah.
Like, when we just did the sequence, like all the middle, like the 1, 2, 3, 4, those are just ones that we'd add in there? Like,
We call the first drawing A1,
yeah,
right? We call the second drawing A5,
yeah.
right? And we call the next one A7.
Yeah.
So the chart that says A5 to A7, we'd probably keep it close to A5, the in-between. Put it closer to A5, like maybe a third. So A6 would be closer, and then we'll pop into A7. And we'd hold A7 on the exposure sheet, maybe for a second. While he goes up, maybe you would blink or something when he's holding the top here. Then he settles back down to A11. The 3 in between is close to the last one. So it's a way you place the in-betweens and gives the timing between the keys. I have one more task for you people. Seeing how you've been so good and compliant here. I'd like you all to fill out a feedback form for me. Nobody else is going to read them or anything. It's just to help make me a better teacher, okay? Just write whatever you feel you're honestly. You don't have to put your name on them. Yes, Josephine. Joseph. No, okay, say what you're going to say.
It's 10 after 9, and they've got till 9:30, so I mean, unless you're wanting to wrap up early,
They can stay and draw. Sure, you can stay and use the desk and try to animate something. Sure. I can answer any questions. I'm sweating. I got a little sign for have a drink. But I kind of went through this stuff real fast, folks. I'm sorry if I kind of rushed and confused you at all. But maybe you can fill out this feedback form, and that's the comment you can make. Just try to be honest. You know, whatever you think. You know, say what you like best. Was it the portfolio? Was it the, you know? Oh, I wanted to show you how to in-between too. I wanted to show you a trick. I'll show you that in a minute. There you go. You don't have to put your name on this or anything, you know, it's just for me to look at so I can become a better teacher. Did I give you one, Jim? Everybody got one of these feedback forms? You got one of those? Okay. This is the thing I was going to show you. How to get a perfect in-between. Can't be wrong. Okay, say I had these two keys, A1 and A5. They're on top of each other on the paper. And I want to draw A3, the perfect one in between. What I do is take my third sheet, my blank sheet over top of it, with the light showing through. So we have these on top of each other. And we take our third sheet of paper off, over top, and we make 3 points. 3 identifiable points that we can follow. So here I see the top of the ear is coming down. So there's a point. Here's a point here. There's a point in between. Maybe the top of the head, right there and there. There's the third point. We make 3 points that are in between. Does everybody see that? Then we take leave our first sheet on the paper, on the board, take our second sheet of paper, and put it as close as we can to the first sheet of paper where we want to draw. Like line up the heads. As close as we can. And then we take our third sheet with the points, and we line them up where they're supposed to go. And there was the points of the ear and the top of the head, right in between there. So by putting that third sheet of paper over between, if you check the corners of the paper, they should line up in an arch. We can draw the in-between right in between those lines. And when we put it back, we put it in between, we call it A3. And when we put it back in between those two pages, it's perfectly in between. Give you perfect movement. Just by looking at arcs and selecting 3 points. Everybody see that? So it's the arcs and the points you line up to get the direct in-betweens. It'll save you a lot of time. So I'll just let you draw away. Draw to your heart's content. The doors are open till 9:30. No questions, eh? Questions for me? Any questions for Graz? Drawing cartoons can be a lot of work, and it's a big struggle. I haven't always been able to support myself in drawing cartoons, but there's been times where I've made a lot of money and times where it goes real slow. But it's all word of mouth and getting out there and applying yourself.
What's the CD?
It's a DVD. It's a data DVD. It's all these exercises are on there and support work that shows it. I'm trying to do one that's basic drawing, basic animation, and a college course. But the college course is incomplete, so it's a work in progress. But there's a lot of stuff on there you can check out anyway.
So when you take this home,
Yeah, it's all yours. The folders are yours.
is the website on here too?
No, the website's written on top of the CD. cartoonmonster.tv. So you're more than welcome to take the folders, to take all your drawings home, practice at home. And you can get that book, Animation, by Preston Blair. That's a good book to get. You can send it away for these peg bars. And we'll try to keep some of these sets down here are available if you want to borrow one or something. Maybe we can rent one out to you for a week or something. Put the batteries in it. If they're not down at the reset. So thanks a lot for coming out. I'm going outside.
Thank you for
It was nice. They're artists. I'm John.
I think it's pretty interesting.
It was really nice.
The guy was very talented.
I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, he was really good.
So what did you think about the workshop?
It was great. It was fast-moving and really fascinating, interesting. First time I've ever done anything like this, and I just totally enjoyed it.
Well, I thought it was a great crash course in cartoon animation and learned a lot in a short period of time. I was looking to learn about storyboards because I've been thinking about my own kids' cartoons, so it was good to see that demonstrated. But I'm glad I
Good night. That's all, folks.